Well, it's one of the first times we've seen Halo get out of just the Xbox realm. I think
Right.
that's one thing a lot of people don't really take into account with how much success and how popular Halo has been. It has been Xbox exclusive entirely.
Mhm.
You compare, like, every single time we're comparing Halo to some of its competitors, something like a Call of Duty or whatever. It's like, yeah, Call of Duty is on Xbox, PC, PlayStation,
Right.
Switch, like you can play it on everything. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so obviously Halo has been a powerhouse for Microsoft and the Xbox brand as a whole. So like there's its reasons for it. But as far as being accessible to people, it's you don't reach more people than you do on PC. PC is the most popular platform
Yeah.
uh, out there. So it'll be interesting to see how the PC community receives it. Obviously, Halo has such a strong name behind it that it's going to attract a lot of people, and they're going to get the opportunity to have players play it.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, it's going to introduce Halo to a whole new audience, which is just exciting for newer players, and then also for us as the hardcore competitive community because it just introduces more eyes on the game. From the Halo 5 perspective, my eyes is just it wasn't very forgiving or welcoming to new players.
Right.
I tried to look back at like older Halos, something like a Halo 2, and it's like, all right, yeah, you had a lot of certain automatic weapons that were actually reasonable to use. You know what I mean? Like newer players could pick up a SMG or whatever, like they could dual wield and they could still
Sure.
see some success. Whereas Halo 5, there's like, all right, we're gonna make this, a solid competitive game. And like they did that out of the box. It was really competitive, but a new player trying to use the AR in Halo 5, they're just getting destroyed. Not because it's a bad weapon, it's because it took too much skill to use. And so I think the
Mhm.
argument always is like you always want to have ideally as low of a skill floor as possible, so that's welcoming to newer players, and then as high of a skill ceiling as possible, so that the
Right.
competitive players can
Right.
reach that. And in most cases, it ends up being like a sliding scale. Like you hear about games like Dota 2, where it's like it's a very unforgiving game to new players, but
Yeah.
has a ridiculous high skill ceiling. So, like I
Yeah.
said, you want to make that spectrum as wide as possible. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see where they put that slider on for Halo because I felt like it was too high for Halo 5 and I would have loved to see it either wider, like I said, welcoming into newer players, or even
Yeah.
just lower. Like I hate saying that as a competitive player, but like I would like to see a lower skill ceiling, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not really true. But there are certain aspects, like I said, I would like to see it more welcoming newer players. And if that came at a cost of a slightly higher skill ceiling, that's maybe a cost I would have been willing to pay for Halo 5.
What would you like to see as far as Halo Infinite goes? If you have any kind of ideas towards the new title.
So it's it's gonna be interesting to see if they do, like, let's go with the hypothetical that they make it on both PC and Xbox, which is clearly a possibility. The fact that they're doing this now with MCC kind of teases towards that possibility. Um, so with that in mind, I think from a game design standpoint, you have to figure out, all right, what are we making? Who is our base case user in this
Right.
scenario? Are we making the mouse and keyboard player our base case user? Because in that case, you clearly you do have to up like move speed. You have to do a lot of tweaking and tuning changes to accommodate for a more precise aimer. Whereas
Interesting.
if you're making like the base user, someone who's using a controller, you're gonna spend a lot of time tuning you stuff like auto aim. You're gonna spend a lot of time tuning, like you're gonna be a little bit more forgiving and slower
Right.
speed stuff. And both of those are acceptable answers, but it's I think you get in trouble if you don't commit to one or the other because I think
Yeah.
you get a subpar experience for both of the main audiences if you don't commit to one or the other. So I think that's one interesting decision that they'll have to make over on their end is, like I said, going to the hypothetical that's on both, which is the base user. Which are you doing? Because I
Yeah.
don't you've seen much success from creating two different games. You're not gonna be like, all right, well, here's how Halo Infinite plays on PC and things are a little bit faster, and here's how Halo Infinite plays
Yeah. Yeah.
on Xbox, and uh, and so I think they at least have some reference points now though with something like Fortnite to see like, all right, how have they accommodated? Like
Right.
you've seen, it's clear in my eyes, it's clearly a game more so around mouse and keyboard. they have made it accessible on the other platforms, but they've made it mainly a mouse and keyboard game because you see those players dominate. That's where they're supporting most of their tournament money. They allow people to play with controllers, and they have auto aim assist and certain things to try to close that gap. But
Right.
in my eyes, Fortnite was designed as a PC game, and it clearly was, because I don't remember if they had much Fortnite on console or before the battle royale mode.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they have a couple reference points, but that's one of my most concerning parts is like, all right, how are they going to tackle that problem? And then obviously the other bigger problem or question is it going to be more classic? Is it going to be more technical?
Right.
Like which way do you go? Because we've seen a lot of success with very in-depth games like a Fortnite or Apex, with a lot
Sure.
of options and ways you can play the game, or do you go a more simplistic model? That is something that we haven't seen as much in recent past. We haven't seen as many super successful games be like, all right, here's super simple model. You only have just this one loadout. You can, you don't have too many movement abilities. You don't have too many, either way can work. And it's just an interesting question because like you constantly hear this debate within the Halo community, like they have to go back to classic Halo, or they have to, you have to, you see these other successful games like Apex or Fortnite. It's like, oh, well, you got to create all these new cool things that you can do in Halo to create it, make it interesting or get the audience.